Good evening, good evening, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Rose, good evening to you. Wise Thinker, welcome. Good evening to you. Angel Snow, good evening, welcome. Arlene, good evening to you. As always, appreciate you all tuning in to tonight's live broadcast. Um, Before we get started tonight, there is a story that I want to bring to you tonight. I was supposed to bring it 2 or 3 nights ago, but we got hung up on some other things, so I didn't get a chance to bring it. And it's going to come to us from out of Odessa, Texas. But before we go there, Terrence is my good friend. We grew up together in Shreveport, Louisiana. He now lives in Houston, Texas. I spoke with him a little while ago. Some of you may remember him. He came on the show one time to speak on Donald Duck. And if you remember the show, then you know Terrence supports Donald Duck 1,000,000%. But we're still friends, and we'll always be that. Maybe next week he's going to come back on the show, and we're going to be discussing Trump again. But the thing about Terrence and I is that we can disagree and laugh or holler, but when we're through on air, we're still tight and we still respect one another's opinion, whether we agree with it or not. So I spoke with him a little while ago tonight. It's always good to hear his voice. So hopefully next week I'm going to get Terrence to come back onto the show. Tammy, always 100, never fake. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay. I'm going to share this quick story with you that it's despicable. It's despicable. If I had to use one word to describe this case, it would be despicable. It happened back in August. Odessa police have arrested 2 people in connection with the death of a 12-year-old girl. Daniel Swartz, 44, Ashley Swartz, 34, have both been charged with capital murder. According to the Odessa Police Department, they responded to the 4300 block of Locos Avenue back on August 29th for a medical call. When police arrived, they found an 8-year-old girl deceased. Police said their investigation of the girl's death revealed that she had been punished by the 2 suspects. The punishment included not allowing Jalen to eat breakfast. The little girl was forced to jump up and down all day on a trampoline without stopping. Again, no food, and she was not allowed to drink any water. Police learned that on that day, the temperature at the time that it happened was about 110 degrees, while the ground was 150 degrees. Her death was ruled a homicide, cause of death, dehydration. We've shared that on our injustice page. I don't know how you just sit and torture a child because you have the upper hand. A child cannot get no more than you give that child. Whenever a child is in your care, that child should be safe in your care. There's no excuse for this little girl being dead. There's no excuse for having an 8-year-old girl jump up and down all day on a trampoline just because you are diabolical. And it's ongoing. It's not decreasing with guardians or parents killing children that they should be protected. Some things must change. And one of the things that must change is how we immediately deal with investigations of a child's death. I know Tammy's always 100 says it's a damn shame. I totally agree with you. And that's why when it comes to being tough on crime, I think that's one crime that they should be extremely tough on. That crime right there. The excuses, I didn't have a job, I was depressed, this was going on, I was going through a divorce, I didn't have no job. That don't mean a damn thing. Nothing you say gives justification to you starving a child, the child begging for water, the child crying for water. She's about to pass out. She's going up and down on a trampoline. And you and your lover are sitting there watching this because this is entertainment for you. When I read that story there really, really, really pissed me off. It did. And again, we shared Jalen's story on our Injustice Investigations Facebook page. Tonight, the gentleman that's about to come on the screen with me, he's been on my show before, I think once. It was back in 2019 he came on the show. Maybe it was early this year, I'm not for sure. But he's on tonight. His name is Doc Odom. He is the father of Trivenskey Odom. Trivenskey Odom was killed in Shreveport, Louisiana by law enforcement back in April of 2019. The report says that it was justifiable homicide. But was it really justifiable homicide, or was it just a homicide and they put the word justifiable in front of it? Good evening, Mr. Odom.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. I got off work, trying to get here to get this done.
Well, I appreciate you there. You have a mic or something, because I'm having a little trouble hearing you clear. Or maybe y'all need to turn it up a little bit. I'm not for sure. What's going on?
I got it turned all the way up.
Okay. So most people know the story. They know about Trivenskey Odom. But there are a lot of people that don't know about Trivenskey Odom. And some people that do know about Trivenskey Odom don't know the whole story as to how he became a victim of law enforcement in Shreveport, Louisiana. You and I, we discussed this on a daily basis there. You took a little time off because you need to get your thoughts together. We were concerned about you, but I can also appreciate that, because all of us get to that point where we just have to run away and get to ourselves before we go off, especially when we're dealing with the powers that be. Now, you have my deepest condolences. I understand everything that's going on with you. I'm glad to have you back on the show, but of course not under these circumstances, Mr. Odom. But what I want to do tonight, I know we decided that we wasn't going to leave anything. Everything was on the table tonight, whatever we wanted to discuss. And if you all would like to call in tonight and speak with Mr. Odom live, you can do that as well. The numbers at the bottom there. So what we're going to do tonight, some things that you and I didn't discuss when you first came on the show. If we feel it necessary, you and I are going to discuss those things tonight. But a couple of areas that I really want to focus on is the police report and the medical examiner's report. Now, you've heard me say this before. You and I we kind of think alike there. We got that temper and stuff. You and I know that we don't believe anything a police officer says, even if it's in writing. You have to prove it to us, and that's because you don't have a good history with us. And at the drop of a dime, they'll walk in that courtroom and raise their right hand to tell the truth, but tell a damn lie. So before we read some of the reports, I want you to just tell us a little bit about who your son was.
Well, it started off, Scott. I didn't have but 2 children, and Trivenskey was my baby. Even though he was 27, but he was still the baby of, my baby to me. And well, started off, Trivenskey, he grew up, but I did whatever I could to try to raise him right and everything. But living in Shreveport and got these positive and negative children hanging around and everything. It was hard to, it's hard to raise a child in Shreveport. Because the thing is, ever since they took the law from the parents, black, white, Jewish, Polak, whatever, it didn't matter. Ever since they took the rights from the parents to discipline the kids, our kids are doing what they want to do. And the thing is, you don't have no control over your children nowadays.
Exactly. So
Trivenskey fell in that category and started getting in trouble. Got him out of jail 2 or 3 times. Stuff. He just, thought he was the king of Shreveport. And it just so much stuff went on with him, and then he finally got locked up and went to. Because I told him one day, Trivenskey, you need to get your head right, get yourself together, cause do something one of these days. It's gonna bite you in the ass. And that day came. He had to go to court. They gave him 65 years.
My God.
Okay. He did 9 years of that. And I'm going to tell you this right here. Anybody that's got children out there right now, damn the white people, put the strap on. Because they need it. Because I tell you, like I told Cedric Love, that's another white man's nigga. I went to the city council meeting. And well before I went to the city council meeting, a few days before that, I rode by I was at County Market. And you can see the white kids out there in the parking lot at County Market doing whatever they doing. Making donuts in the parking lot and drinking beer and all such things as that and everything. And so a few days later, I went to the city council meeting, and Cedric Glover, he was up there. I said, Mr. Glover, I said, tell me, how can you sit back and let the sheriff department put $100,000 bond on a teenager? And he looked at me all crazy, wide-eyed and everything, and I told him, and he told me, he said, well, Mr. Odom, to answer your question, you'd rather for him to be tried by 12 than to be carried by 6. And I took 2 steps back from the podium. I looked at him and I told him, you vice versa that answer for your own self. Because I'm going to tell you, I know everything about you. I know where you live. I know what you drive. I know where you eat. And I'm going to tell you this right here, Mr. Glover, straight to your face. And I don't give a damn about who all in here or whoever. I said, but if I go to come into that boat and you choke, I said, everybody that tried to save you, I'm going to knock the fuck out. And I was pissed. Our kids in Shreveport don't have nothing to do. What is it left for them to do? Rob and steal. Walk the streets with their pants hanging down. You walk the street with your pants hanging down, you you opening yourself up to go to jail.
Exactly.
That's all they want. That's all they want. They want a reason. A friend of mine was at the boardwalk. Bossier police walked behind him, reached in his belt, and stopped him and told him he needed to get off the boardwalk because he didn't have a belt on and he was sagging. That's. I mean, if you see one sagging, stop the blacks and the white. Don't just pick with the
Exactly.
don't just pick with the blacks. Just do your job. But you don't have to be so harsh about it. Tap me on my shoulder. Sir, can you pull up your pants? And that's it. But it was Trivenskey just when he was locked up, his mom got killed in 2018. And they wouldn't bring him to the service. They wouldn't bring him or his brother. His brother's in David Wade. They wouldn't bring neither one of them. Talking about they don't have the transportation. They don't have the 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 proper guards and all the proper officers to bring him down there and everything. If he was white, I imagine they would.
Mhm.
And Trivenskey was pissed off about that. And there was some more things that had him going and everything, had him going. And he had said, man, you have discussed this. He had said his mom got killed on the 16th of April of 2018. Okay. He had said he was gonna either die on the same day his mama got killed, or he was gonna do something to make the police kill him. But it goes back to what me and you talked about.
Mhm.
Why should you throw gas on the fire and everything? You got tasers. You got and one thing I'm pissed off of, they do not have a what you call that, a coordinator to try to
Mhm.
talk to people, especially these people nowadays that's mentally ill and having problems with the law and everything. They don't have a commentator or whatever to, talk to people.
Exactly.
Maybe he was gonna give up. My understanding, he was gonna give up simply because from everybody that I talked to and the guy that I talked to the other day, he told me that he his cousin has the video and said it was a cell phone. And Miss Alicia, she said he did not have a gun. She made physical eye contact with him. She said that he did not have a gun in his hand. Both hands was up, empty, or with a cell
Mhm.
phone. So, I mean, you just to break it down, you just got a lot of gun happy officers on the police force. And another thing that really pisses me off about it was Prater. Prater was pissed when they ran his name and said it was Trivenskey Odom. He wanted him off the street because Trivenskey beat the system. He beat the system and got out and got back on the street. Prater wanted him off the street. Bill,
Uh, right. Now, I want to go back to the day in question. I think it was April the 10th, right?
April 10th.
Okay. I'm just going to paraphrase some of this from the police report as to how this thing all unfolded. They were called to the University Health Hospital on a person who had been shot. A gentleman by the name of Mr. Jones was suffering from two gunshot wounds, one to the right thigh and one to the left thigh. Mr. Jones stated that he had just got off of work from moving guys. He was on his way home. He was on his way home when he noticed Trivenskey Odom walking down Hamilton Street by Diamond Jack Casino, which is in Bossier City. Mr. Jones stated that he made contact with Trivenskey to see if they were still beefing with one another. I'm paraphrasing. When he asked Trivenskey, Trivenskey said, no, everything is fine. He was walking. He wanted to take him where he was trying to go. But Mr. Jones, as well as he was doing that, he called someone and told him that Trivenskey was with him and he didn't have anywhere to go. And the gentleman said, bring him to the shop. That's the shop over on West 70th, right?
Yes, sir.
So allegedly, when they got there, Trivenskey Odom pulled out a silver handgun and wanted both individuals in the truck, and he was going to drive wherever. The guy, I guess, who owns the truck gave Trivenskey the keys, but they wouldn't get in the truck. But one guy was still shot once in each leg. The guy said, bring him to me. I guess he was going to help him. But Trivenskey wanted to go another route with this. He reached into a bag and pulled out the handgun. He said, you're going to witness me shoot his brother. And he did. So that's when the police get involved. And it goes back to Blanchard, Louisiana, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the two gentlemen that we were just speaking of, who are they?
Richard is the oldest of, he's my stepson. He the oldest.
Okay.
And the other one was a friend of the family.
Okay, wait a minute. This is about allegedly some money from the mother, right?
Yeah, it's about $30,000
Okay.
beneficial. And it's like we talked the other night that if I'd have known that she had that and everything, I think I'd have just, took it and divided it up right. Everybody would have got their share, their close share, their $10,000. And this is what happened, Mr. Scott. Richard got the whole check. Okay?
The whole 30,000?
The whole 30,000.
Okay.
Okay. He wanted to nickel and dime. You can't nickel and dime a grown person their own money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Okay. What happened? I got that me and Richard went and got Trivenskey from Mango. I was in the back sitting with Trivenskey. And Trivenskey said, have you cashed the check yet? You got the money? Have you cashed the check? He said, no, I can't cash the check right now. Which he had already cashed the damn check. Okay? Trivenskey told him, so, well, when you go cash the check, I'm going with you. I can get my money. And it went on from there. So Richard had Trivenskey his money, Trivenskey money, and DeAndre money, which is Trivenskey's middle brother, which is in David Wade. Okay. All this money. So Richard kept beating around the bush. Trivenskey got tired. And he told him, man, you need to give me my money. Richard told him, I guess Richard told him, you ain't going to do nothing but spend it. What do you do with money? You can't take it with you when you leave here. And so Richard finally gave him his money. And it went from there.
He was given 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Richard took his money, the money that he got, and his brother money, which is DeAndre. He went to Florida. He took the kids to on vacation, to buying drinks and shit for everybody else and everything. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this right here. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. His life is on the line again. So you got another brother that's finna get out of David Wade that's probably gonna be mad at you because you ain't got his money. So what you looking at? You're looking at your life being on the line again. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then your mama gone, your baby brother gone. Now it's gonna be up in the air again when DeAndre get out. You may leave or he may leave or both of y'all may leave. It's just like that. All behind, like James Brown said, a person will kill you for money.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. That's what it was all about, money. But
So, in the beginning, did any of this come out in the beginning?
it didn't. Only way I found out was that Richard called me one day and said, Pops, Minsky, he acting a fool about this money. I told Richard, I said, well, give it to him. Whatever he do with it, that's his business. If he spend it all in one night, one day, 2 months, whatever, give it to him. Let him grow. And and that's where it went. That's the way it went.
So, with your son being released from prison, he had a lot on his shoulder.
Yeah, the death of his mom.
Right. Who
And,
now he was incarcerated at David Wade, right?
well, no, Trivenskey was in Angola.
Angola. Okay. And when his mother died, he was still at Angola, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is in Louisiana, right?
That's right.
So why wasn't he allowed to go to the funeral of his mother's body?
Well, because they said that they didn't have the people to bring him to the service, and that's what they told him, just like they told DeAndre, which is at David Wade.
So when he got out, that was heavy on his mind. And I think the day before he was killed, I think the next day was going to be his birthday or the day after.
Now, the April 11th got killed on April the 10th.
Okay. Okay. Now, Trivenskey Odom had some things going on, some mental issues. Which you said that he got on drugs or drinking.
If I knew he drank the them, or the other part, I don't know.
Okay. Now, we've heard that Trivenskey Odom was on a mission, which they call suicide by cop. Now, however, I don't think at that particular time that he still wanted to die. That's because of who I spoke with right after things happened. But either way, if he was on a mission caught by suicide, it doesn't mean the police department had to take him up on his offer, right?
That's right. That's why I say it. They, with the way things are going right now, and then you turn around, Mr. Scott. I called 911, and I don't know up to today if she put it out on air or whatever. I don't know, and that's one thing that pisses me off too, because I want to see or hear the
911 tape.
Yeah.
So Uh, tell us what happened when I think you called 911, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what did you tell?
I told them, ma'am, I said, my son, y'all, that's my son. That's my son that y'all chasing. And what's his name? And I jumped up. I went off before. I said, what the hell does it matter? I mean, that's my son.
Exactly.
You sitting here asking me this kind of question. I said, that's my son, y'all chasing. And she said, well, I said, and I told her, I said, well, look, this is what I want y'all to stop it and apprehend him. Do not kill him. I said, I'd rather see him in jail or wherever besides in a box. I said, so please, just can you put that out there? Um, and next thing I know, it went 5 minutes, 6 minutes or something. My niece called me. She missed his girlfriend. I hung up the phone with her because all this shit started. I getting Blanchard from her mama house and stuff. So I went there, and the baby mama called me. She said, you know, my, my baby gone. My baby daddy gone. I said, what? I just threw my phone. I threw it. I was just that man. I just
I spoke with the girlfriend shortly after this happened. Now, the purpose of you, other than love, calling 911, you're trying to tell them that my son has some things going on.
yes,
Maybe
sir.
you all should approach this in a different manner, different way. And I agree with that because if there's a hostage situation, we have hostage negotiators come out to try and de-escalate the situation. At least 3 or 4 men in Shreveport that had mental issues have been killed by the police in Shreveport, Louisiana. I think when you make that call, there should be someone that has a degree in this field that they bring to the scene of the crime to get them to try to de-escalate it, because they know not only does he have something going on, but they know how to deal with this. Now, if they've been out there for a while and it's not working, then with all due respect, I guess they have to do what they feel they need to do. Now, we don't know whether or not the operator relayed that information, do we?
That's my whole point.
Okay. I'm sorry. If you can delete it, spin fire, please. She says the Cash App link is not working. I know the one that does work is on the banner of the show. And if they can go there, that would be a tremendous blessing. Now, when I spoke with his girlfriend, here's what she told me. Trivenskey had been going through some things. At one time, he did want to die, but he had gotten past that. He called her that night, and he told her what was going on. He told her he loved her. He was sorry that he couldn't be here to see his child because he knew either way they were going to kill him.
Yeah,
He asked her, I'll just hold the phone until it's over. She said, no, I don't want to hear it. Just hang up. And he did. She said, well, they didn't call back in about a minute. She knew they had killed him. Now, the young lady you spoke of earlier, it's Alyssa, what was it?
Alicia Keys.
Okay. If we'll deal with the neighborhood later of him allegedly shooting out of the vehicle. But when we get to the Greenwood Road and Jewella Avenue, I was told by several people, one in particular said they made eye contact with your son.
Yeah, she told me. She told me
Exactly.
that. She told me the exact same thing. She was hung up in the intersection. She couldn't go nowhere. And the way they were shooting, she was lucky her kids didn't get shot.
Exactly. And when she saw him, two things I paid close attention to. Number one, this is what she said. He was doing the sign of surrender. This is I surrender.
Yeah.
She said they made eye contact, and she was telling him, don't do nothing crazy. Just don't move. And I asked her, I said, do you think he knew what you were saying? She said, I think, but he looked at me as if, yeah, you know, they're going to kill me anyway. But his hands, according to her and a couple of more people, was not on the steering wheel. It was up. It was up. Now, when we go back to Blanchard, then you come to Shreveport. You go through, what is it? Is that Motown or City Grove? City Grove?
Well, he must have went to Cedar Grove because he come through right by my cousin's barbershop, right there on Hollywood, right there by Church's Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Now, after that, the incident with the shooting, was it a 380 or a 25 automatic?
As I understand, it was a 25.
Say it again, Mr. Odom. It was a what now?
It was a 25, as I know of.
Okay. Well, I know it's not you. Every detail count and must be looked at. The report says he had a 380.
I know. I mean, I was understood that it was a 25.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, and we've been saying that since back in September, and I think that's what it was. It also may have been an error on their part, maybe. Now, another lady called the police and said that there was someone in the house with gun threatening everybody in the house. Was that true?
I did not know of. Now, the only thing I heard was that he went to Blanchard and Mike, which is his uncle, grabbed his gun and said they said Trivenskey wanted to get his clothes or something, whatever he had in there. And they wouldn't open the door. Justina called her mom and told them that he said he was on his way up there. And that's where a lot of this stuff started and stuff. And really, I haven't said that to none of them, since all this happened.
Okay. Now, after speaking with the girlfriend several times, he didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. I believe Trivenskey Odom was just like a lot of people. He was weighed down with the troubles of the world, and it almost appeared as if everything and everybody was against him, if only in his mind. I know him and his mother was close. My mother and I were close, and I took it hard when she died, and I was at the funeral, so I can imagine how Trivenskey felt being locked up.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff on his shoulder, and he didn't know how to weigh it out. Didn't know how to deal with it.
Okay, I'm gonna read something. And tell me if you know anything about this. Shreveport Police Department was called. Capital Parish Sheriff Department. The state police was also involved in a chase with your son that allegedly went up to speeds of 137 miles per hour. Okay. Now, When they were chasing your son, the report says the gentleman driving had shot at civilians. However, no confirmation on whether anyone was shot or hurt and possibly hit a pedestrian. That also has not been confirmed. Now, my thing is this. You said Trivenskey Odom. He didn't shoot out the window. He shot several times out the window. Here's what's puzzling. Nobody showed up to report that their car was riddled with bullets. Nobody showed up that said their house had been riddled with bullets. No signs of nothing was riddled with bullets. Now, it was a 25 automatic. How many bullets was in it, Mr. Odom?
As I have heard, he didn't have but 3. That's all I heard. And said that, hey, I went to school. And you shoot the boy twice in one leg and you shoot him in the other leg, you got 1 bullet left. So how in the hell can you shoot out a window and when they found the gun, it had 1 bullet in it? You tell me either my additions is wrong or they reporters is messed up.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, like I said, when we gave the speech at the police department, that had to be one hell of a bullet. If that 1 bullet damn near shot up a neighborhood, 1 bullet, that's a badass bullet. That bullet can't be stopped. This 1 bullet shot at people several times while fleeing from law enforcement. I just don't believe it.
No.
I just don't believe it.
And I was gonna tell you, I was gonna say this too. The guy, you remember I talked to the other day that came to my job?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The video that he saw said that the police, they come over the air and told them to back off. Mr. Scott, I ain't no dummy. And I ain't stupid and I didn't fall off the nut truck yesterday. Okay. When you, like you just saying, they reach speeds of 130 some miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
When they reach speeds of going through the city limits at 50, they tell you to back off. If they tell you to back off, back off. Yep. And what, I mean, my point is, they didn't back off. That's why I said they wanted him, Freedom wanted him dead and off the streets. That's why I keep saying, if you're chasing somebody down Jewel, let's say it's I don't forget what day this was, on Thursday or Friday or whatever. But you in the city limits and you running 60, 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour. What's the first thing you supposed they really tell you? Let the pursuit die down or stop, back out, let it go. You know what I'm saying?
They do that. That's exactly what they said, because it's not worth risking other people's lives. We'll deal with it on another day. Now, we shared a video. When this first happened, we were getting ready to go live. Cynthia and I was at the desk, and for some reason we looked at Facebook, and someone was going live, and all we saw was a lot of lights and a white Chevy Tahoe. Now, in real time, we heard the shots. In real time. We counted, when we slowed it down, 170 some shots. If my memory is correct, 170 shots in 7 seconds. However, I guess I'm wrong, or I was hearing things. The police department said it was about 49 shots.
Huh, they better send them all back to school and let them learn their education again. And also, in the coroner's reported, it was 19 shots that hit.
Exactly. 19 shots hit. Now let's go, since you said that, and look, this is part of the report from the medical examiner's office. It says, when I viewed the body, I started from the head to the toe. I counted 19 bullet wounds, and 1 bullet grazed to his upper body, and 1 bullet wound on the right hand. There was another bullet wound near the deceased's right ear. Now, this is what bothers me. It looked to have been a self-inflicted wound. So what I'm asking you, Mr. Odom, is if Trivenskey Odom was going to kill himself, I don't really think he needed the damn police department to do it. He could have done it himself.
Uh-huh. But I'm going to ask you this. That one self-inflicted wound that he's saying in the report was made by what gun, though? A 25 or a 380 or what? Was a 25 or a 380 cartridge found in his body? Anybody that's going to kill themselves either going to shoot themselves in the head or up under the chin.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh.
And I viewed his body at the funeral home. I ain't put no bullet hole in his head, and I looked up under his chin. Nothing under his chin. I looked at it.
And so, it was ruled a justifiable homicide, but I'm not a medical expert. But here's what I think. I think probably the second or third shot killed your son. After that, they were just pumping bullets into a dead man.
That's it.
I do not agree with the 49 shots.
No, I don't need.
And as someone just said, Tammy said, that's overkill. That is. But even says overkill, that's an understatement. They said Trivenskey Odom was a threat to the citizens at that time. But the activist that I spoke with, she said, no, he wasn't a threat. The law enforcement, with the way they were shooting, they were a threat to the neighborhood.
I'm gonna put myself in my son's position. Okay. If I'm running from the police, if you feel like I'm a threat and I roll up to the light right there at a slow pace, that's not a threat. If I'm running 80 miles an hour and I peel through the light and run into somebody's car, that's a threat. That's a threat to somebody's to the people. If I run through there and run into a police car or a pedestrian that's trying to cross the street, that's a threat. That's really a threat. But you roll up to the light, and then, like, if you go on Channel 3, I don't forgot what site it's on, and they showed the guy throwing the spike out, and they still posted on Channel 3 News. They that's the only dash cam that I seen.
And like I don't believe the police. I don't believe the medical examiner for one reason. The medical examiner is the law in a sense. They're going to work together. So whatever they feel needs to be said, we'll say it, and then we'll try to go on. Hopefully, nobody will try to investigate this case. They've lied so much to us. We said the other guy in Shreveport, I think he was shot over 7 times. Then they say he got up and put a bullet in his own head. Why in the hell did he need to do that if he had been shot 7 times? I mean, they was doing a damn good job of killing him, so he didn't have to worry about doing it his damn self.
Uh-uh.
But then we're told that we're not going to open the case back up because the medical examiner said it was suicide. I don't give a fuck if your mama said it was suicide. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
This is not back in 1942 when Negroes couldn't read.
And it's just like I told the private investigators when I went there, they gonna ask me. Well, I was in my stepdaughter's car, and it had Texas plates on it. And my other little daughter, she was sitting in the car. She was getting ready to come in there when I come out, because I had back. It was 2 of them standing there talking to me, questioning me, telling me that, well, you know, your son was shooting out the window. And you know me, Mr. Prater. I mean, Mr. Scott. Damn.
Did you just call me Prater? What the heck? Steve, did you just call me Prater? Oh man, man, dog, you wrong.
That's who I was. I'm sorry.
No, you good, brother. Go ahead.
But
I need another damn drink. Go ahead, I'm listening.
But Mr. Scott, I stood there and I bagged my back up against the door. And he said, Mr. Odom, where are you from? And I asked them, they seen the Texas plates on the car, and they were like, where are you from? I said, it don't really matter where the hell I'm from. I said, I'm not going to tell you. What you going to do? You going to have somebody trying to kill me now? Because I'm talking about telling you about my son's situation. And he looked at me and said, well, my question is, and I said, hold on, before you say anything, I said, you sitting here telling me that y'all saying that my son was shooting out the window. I said, where's the dash cam? Where's the body cam? Produce me that, and then maybe I'll be satisfied. Up until then, I would not be satisfied. Not with the city of Shreveport. And he looked at me. Well, we have it, but we can't release it right now. I said, okay. I said, when will it be released? We don't know. That we don't know. I said, okay. And he jumped up and asked me, would you ever consider, I said, ever consider moving back to Shreveport? I said, bitch, I wouldn't move back to Shreveport if you had gold nuggets in the middle of the street for market. I said, the way y'all killing up black people around here, hell no. Ain't no way in hell. I do Shreveport, but I'm not going to live in Shreveport.
Now, there's another video, and we don't want to go too far off into it. The video that was shown to me by the man that you introduced me to, without calling his name.
Yeah.
That was the night we was doing the visual, right?
That's right.
This video, and I can't go into it, it tells a totally different story from what happened that night. And I remember when the brother was showing it to me, we kept moving because people kept walking up and we wanted anyone to see it. But you saw this video, right?
I never saw it. That was you, my daughter, Ronna. That's who saw it. Y'all saw it. I never did see it.
That video tells a different story, though, right?
As I understand, yes.
Did the police ever, even though they think they were right, did they ever call and say, Mr. Odom, we apologize, even if they thought they were right? How many times have they called
you? If they call me, it'll never be. My phone must have been off, or it must have been broke, or it must have been something. Ain't there one of them some bitches have never called me. Never. Even the 911 dispatcher, she never did call me. So you got a dispatcher that's a crook, and you got all them son guns sitting up there that's crooks, and you got the mayor that's a crook.
Oh, before we get out of here, do you remember the last time you and your son were together, what y'all did or what you all talked about?
Well, the last time me and him talked, he asked me, "Dad, what you gonna do for my birthday?" I said, "Well," he was in Shreveport. I'm in Monroe, and uh, I said, "Well, we'll come get you, and we'll come down here, put some meat on the grill for your birthday, and have a few drinks and all that." Never made, never made.
Wow. The one of the I think the saddest part about this story, if we can pick one out, to me is when I spoke with his girlfriend and she told me the conversation they had and his frame of mind, and that will always stick with me when she's didn't want to listen and she told him she was going to hang up. Um, and when I spoke with her, of course, she was crying. But Trivenskey son is here now, right?
Yes, he's a beautiful junior.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just like,
And so you've been spending some time with him, right?
oh yeah, I get a chance to go to Minden. My daughter, she's proud of him, and me, my other two daughters, all of them. But I'm gonna tell you the killing part about this Mr. Scott is that his brother come and seen his nephew one time, one time since he been in work, and so
Well,
I know it's. I never forget. I mean, he knew if he'd have took the if he'd have did what he did to me or whatever, I'd have just said I let him have the car. I wouldn't have said my brother stole my vehicle or whatever. You know, that's dead wrong. You want, other words, you wanted your brother to die or whatever because you were scared. You were scared. Richard was scared of Trevensky. Yeah,
I don't think that, and many may not agree with this, but I don't think, even though we do know for a fact that Travinsky shot twice, I don't think he was trying to kill that person.
huh, I don't think so, Nate. I don't think so.
I've sent out several emails last night, certain people. I've asked them to watch this video and listen to you speak. Uh, and I have the file. Your file is about that big. If the powers that be are listening to the show tonight, what would be justice for you? What do you want uh, to happen to the individuals that executed, if I may use that, your son in broad daylight, and expect for you to just leave it at that and go on with your life?
What would satisfy me, Mr. Scott, is that they we get it to the back to the grand jury if we can, and all of those that shot be either fined or they need to be off the police department. I, I mean, I was, I'm gonna say it like this: if you leave home with a problem and somebody do something wrong and you hide behind a badge and a gun, you're gonna do something that you don't want. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
And see, I don't know if I told you this, but I had to run in up here with this with the police up here, like the same situation. He gonna this my mouth. I open it if I want to,
Right.
and if I got that authority, I speak if I want to. If I don't want to, you can't put a crowbar in my mouth and make me speak.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
He walked up to me and said, "Didn't you hear me speak to you?" And I looked at him. I said, "You talking to me?" And he said, "Of course." Man, let me tell you something. You don't know what I'm going through, bro. You do not know what I'm going through. I said, "You hide behind that badge and that damn sign that you got on your side, right? You pull that off and step out here in this parking lot, it can be me and you." I said, "But other than that, this is my mouth. I speak if I want to. If I don't, the hell with you."
Exactly.
And that's exactly what my point is. These police in Shreveport, they are corrupt. They dirty. We got to thin them out and get better officers in there. Don't give a damn if we got to get them from Texas or Mexico or whatever. Well, we got to do better than what we got right now.
Exactly.
Not
One.
on, not only the police, we got to get a mayor in there that's gonna stand his ground and ain't scared of these damn white folks.
Exactly. Have you spoken with the mayor?
I went to a week, the week that we had Trivenskey services. But a few days after that, I went to the mayor's office. No, it was a few days before that. I went to the mayor's office. His secretary told me, well, he's not allowed to talk without an attorney. I said, well, I'm going to leave him this message. There's my phone number. You tell him to call me. Do you think that punk ever called anybody? No. He ain't never called nobody. I said, it's something, I told her, it's something need to be done about these police is killing our kids, man. And I said, this is the place to start. And I said, I'm going to give him 2 or 3 days. I'm going to give him 2 days to call me, and I will come back. And that tongue gun never called me and said nothing. That's why I know he's a little punk ass mayor. He's another citizen. And I hope he listening. He's another white man's nigga. That's all he got is a position. And pray to them, telling them what to do and what not to do.
As you know, I've asked Ms. Iverson to look into this case with us. So tomorrow I'm gonna be taking her some paperwork. But last thing, when you came out of office, you had something in the front seat uh, of the car on the passenger side. What was it, Mr. Odom?
That's his t-shirt. He rides with me even though he dead and gone, he still rides with me 365. 7 days a week. Yep.
Mr. Odom, I love you. I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna ride with you until we get the results that you are uh, looking for. I have nothing but respect for you. I swear I hate what you're going through because I've come to get close with you, and I know you, and I know you're good people, and I know this is weighing you down. I know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nobody should have to go through whether Trivenskey Odom was guilty or not. The way he was executed, that's not a justifiable homicide. That's a homicide.
Well, it's I look at it as murder. That's the way I look at it. Murder.
As always, we thank you all for tuning in tonight's broadcast. Remember, I'm not always right, and you are not always wrong. We will see you all tomorrow night, be it the Lord willing. Mr. Odom, love you big time, brother. I'll speak with you in the morning.
Okay. And if you I'll be at work tomorrow, but I may try to get down there Saturday.
Oh, yeah, listen, before you go, yes. When are you coming so we can go back to that site so the people, if they would like to come, they can come and join us? And tell them where it's at, please.
Come on. I got to get me another picture frame. If you remember, you told me they took that one down, but they didn't do nothing but make it better for me. I'm gonna put another one right back up. And but if not this week, I'll probably come visit you this weekend, and then the following weekend, I'll probably come down there and put up another picture and stuff. So not this week, next weekend, I'll be down there.
All right, Miss Odom. Thank you so much, and enjoy your evening, brother.
All right, you too.
Film the police. My last words to you. Film the police. Film the police before they come up with a law saying you cannot film the police. Film the police. Do not interfere in what's going on with them. Do not agitate them. Do not say, I'm filming you. They know you're filming them. They know that. Film them. Stay out of their way. Find the right attorney and get with him or her and release that video to them if you believe there's some misconduct in it. But again, do not interfere with the arrest. Calling an officer's names, that's going to make it worse for the individual they're dealing with and you as well. Film the police. That's your right. Never turn that tape over to the police. I'm Al Scott with Injustice Investigation. You don't have a lead.